Welcome to Spill the Real podcast, the Margarita Book Club for women in their 40s navigating midlife, motherhood, marriage, and that nagging feeling that you should have life figured out by now but don't.
We're two 40-something moms of teenagers, married for years, probably in perimenopause, and still trying to lose the same 20 pounds we've been fighting for a decade.
This isn't about having all of the answers. It's about spilling the real conversations as we wish someone had with us sooner.
So grab a margarita or a coffee and let's spill the real.
Welcome back to Spill the Real podcast. We are on this summer day. This is the season that we are in, which I love.
Yes.
Summer season.
Love summer.
So you might be listening to this way later in life where it might be winter. So we are loving our summer feels right now. So
Yes.
I think this is the perfect title, the perfect topic to go into as, we're seeing people on our social media. People are socializing, getting out and about. So today's title is the friendship.
Be careful.
Say that twice. The friendship shift no one warned us about. And I will not be saying that yet again. So we are going to be talking about having friends. We talk about this a lot off air. Is that what I would say?
Off microphone,
whatever. Things.
Yep.
But when we talk about friendships a lot. We talk about, sometimes at the timing of life, all of those things in which we're going to dive into today. But before we do that, we do
real talk.
real talk.
Real talk.
And so what is today's real talk question?
What is a way you show up differently as a friend these days?
Do you got something for this?
Yeah.
Go for
I'm
it. Because
lame. And when I thought about this, I was like, the fact that I have to think about this is kind of bad. Because I feel like, not that friendships have fallen, but a little bit, fallen to the wayside a little bit with all the other kind of things I feel like have surfaced over the past year. So it's how I show up for my friends. And if you get a funny, relatable video or meme from me, then you're doing good. You're good. You're good, because that's like the best thing. Sometimes I feel like I'm not a great friend.
You are too.
I'm not as intentional as I would like to be. I'm not like, I can go weeks without hearing from somebody and I won't think a thing about it, and because then I'm not reciprocal, and two of my really close friends are probably nodding their head like, yeah, we wonder sometimes if you're alive. But once we get going, I'm there, but it's like I can get so distracted.
I think, right now in the season that we're in our 40s, but also just how social media and memes and TikTok videos, I think it allows, I actually prefer that, because I think it allows us to say stuff we wouldn't say naturally out loud to each other.
Yes.
And so when I get let's say a TikTok video from, I'll use Ashley, the girl that I work with, we're really close. And if I get a meme from her, I'm like, I didn't know that you considered me your bestie,
Yeah.
So I think sometimes you talk in a way and can kind of share where your feelings are about that person, or, do you remember when we used to do this stupid stuff?
Yes.
And I think it's a fun, easy relationship builder.
Yeah. And I think when you find a video or whatever and you're like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know anybody else thought that or went through that, or I love it personally. Like it's
like a love language,
lighthearted, funny, or we send back a lot, 100%.
Yep.
Like that is 100% true. But so I feel like if I can find the time and energy to send a which shows you what I'm doing. I'm scrolling, and I could be calling somebody, but I'm
It's
doing
not as fun
some. I
sometimes
know, I
because
know.
the scroll and ascend is you can have a conversation within memes going back and forth. Have you ever played? So like that's one of the games I used to love to play. I have a cousin that if he sends a meme, like you have to respond in a meme, and so we would
Uh-huh.
just like do that all the time.
Like have a whole
You have no
conversation.
words,
No, you have to, yeah, that's funny.
and it's just you're responding back,
Yeah,
and it's a great game.
yeah.
Yeah.
So see, I mean, but that's how I'm showing up these
Well,
days.
I love that. I don't really know how I'm showing up because I am I am a shit show. So there's a lot of moving pieces. I feel right currently in real time. I've not shown up the best with a lot of my friends because I am the person that is the caller. I am the person that out of routine. Like I have
Mhm.
somebody that like if Tracy's listening right now, like I know I call her every morning. But when you get out of that routine,
Mm.
it's really hard to like I'm just a routine
Remember
orient.
to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um so I think that's when, summer's now here. So I'm not having school drop off. So I'm not in the same routine. So I just fall out of those things that builds in
Mhm.
those natural things. Not that I don't want to be intentional. I really do. I think about
I know. I
people
think,
all
yeah,
the
yeah. I
time.
feel like I think about doing it all the time. It's just, I don't do
I
it.
know. I told myself, there was a mentor I had one time, and she was like, every time that someone enters your brain and you actually think about them, just text and be like, thinking about you today. Like somebody just did that the other day for me, like yesterday. And when she sounds like, oh my God, I haven't talked to you in forever. And like
Yeah.
it was like a 3 minute back and forth, and that was done. I probably won't talk to her again for a long time, but it was enough to know that you crossed somebody's mind today.
Yes.
And then I want to be better about doing that for people because
Mhm.
people enter my brain all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't do that. So I'm actually not showing up. That is where I'm at right now. I'm not showing up the way that I would love to. Um, I have a very tight schedule, so I have to really carve out.
Mhm.
And so I will say I'm trying to be more aware of what I'm lacking in. So for an example, too, the other day, the girls reached out and we were coming back from basketball. We were supposed to win. We
I'm
didn't.
not talking about that. It was not good.
So they thought I would be at basketball all day, so they weren't going to send me an invite, right? So I was just
Mhm.
like coming home. I was like, somebody asked how games go. I was like, we lost, and like, oh, well, we're going golf, and you want to go golf? And I'm like, I really don't. I'm like laying in the pool right now
Yeah.
because we lost. I don't want to go play golf. Golfing was not on my brain, but I was like, all right, I haven't spent time
Yeah.
with the girls. I need to do that, and it took the act of God to get me to go to
Yeah.
do it,
Right.
but I'm so glad I did,
Yeah. Yeah. It's always never regrets.
right?
There's never regrets. And there's always, when are we doing this again?
Yes.
But it's so hard. Our schedules are so, I mean, like the natural times that we, like you have different seasons where
Mm,
you see people more often, and like I probably wouldn't see you as often if our boys didn't play on the same travel ball team
right.
and middle school basketball team. So it's hard to be intentional because you have so many things going on and you're being pulled in so many different
Different directions.
directions.
Yep.
um and your family's always going to be
Top
number
priority.
one. I mean, your kids, they have to be, but it's so hard. It, and just like we said, like nobody warned us when we were in our 20s, before kids, or even when the kids were little. And I mean, we were together. Me and my two girls
Mm,
were together. Our families every single weekend,
mm,
and it was easy. Our kids were close in age. We had a mix of boys and girls, and I mean, and then we had more kids, and then it became, when we get together, there's like 8 kids,
There's a
and
village.
there's a whole, yeah. And so then it became harder. Well, whose house? Where could we? Got to have enough room for them to play. If
Mhm.
it's winter, we can't be outside. What are we doing? but even then they would just play.
Right.
But now their ages, it's not,
It's not the
it's
same.
not the same.
Yeah.
And it makes it so hard.
Well, and I think let's, because this is a great segue, and I say that all the time. Let's dive in to
Dive
today's
right
episode
in.
because you bring up a great point. I think that, in what I have learned over time that no one really prepares us for is what you're kind of speaking to is I think oftentimes we self-sabotage
Mhm.
our is more so women. But like
Yes.
have you ever like thought like, "Man, I don't really know, nothing really happened. Like there was not a fight. Like I don't know why we stopped hanging out or I don't know what." And
Yes.
I think that to your point it was timing, like we talked timing, proximity, energy, all those things matter in relationships only because our time is limited.
Mhm.
Like in seasons of life. And so I think that is more so it than, and I think that because we're not having a big fight, like, what did I do wrong? Like, why didn't we? And we're not thinking, like, oh, well, it's probably because this or,
Yes.
proximity or I use energy a lot. Like, I have some of my ride or die friends, but we don't carry the same energy. So it's not like we're going to hang out on the weekends or we're calling each other to hang
Yeah.
out. But, like, again, if they would be the friend that something happened, they would be I would
Oh,
call them
right.
immediately and
Oh,
they
and
would
they'd be
be there
there.
in a
Yes.
heartbeat,
Yes.
but we're not at the same energy level, like what they want to do on the weekends and what I want to do on the
Right.
weekends. It's not matched energy. And so like matched energy as far as the conversations, matched energy as far as the activity itself. They're not wrong, I'm not wrong. It's
No.
just we're not the same as what we used to be and what was those activities, if
Right.
that makes any
Everybody
sense.
has different things going. Like, depends on how your week goes, you know? Like, sometimes I would just want to sit on my couch and not talk to anybody and just sit there. And then, like you said, somebody else had a great week and they're ready to hang out and talk and go do something fun. And you're
Mhm.
just depleted,
Right, right.
socially, emotionally, all. So, yeah, that definitely is hard. And then obviously the kids' activities
Mhm.
send us in totally different directions. Um, and Neil, one of his life rules, if anybody
Mhm.
knows,
He's gonna write a book one day about
he
his life
is about his
rules.
life
I've
rules,
heard about him.
and one of them is geography,
Mm.
and where you live, and which I think factors in, like, where you work. And because I've had work friends before who became really great friends, and we were friends outside of work, like really good friends. Well, then I changed jobs,
Right.
and then like our husbands changed jobs
Mhm.
because we work together and they work together. So, and they just kind of fit right in with our pre-existing friend group. So everybody, it was great. And we went on vacations and did all this stuff. Well, like our husbands both took different jobs. I took a different job. And now, I mean, we barely run into them ever. And
Mm.
so it's hard because then you would have to be like so intentional. And I mean, you don't want to say I don't have the time for you,
Mhm.
but I'm like, when would that fit in? Like,
Right.
I feel like I'm just at the brim with my
Mhm.
time right now with, I mean, the kids things and
Right.
work and things like that. So it's like you said, there's always a self-doubt. It's like, "Gosh, did I do something? Did I
Right.
say something? Did I offend them? Did
Mhm.
I did I me not showing up good enough, final, like, give
Mhm.
them the wrong signal that I wasn't, kind of like boyfriend, girlfriend,
Right.
like that I wasn't interested anymore. And then
Mhm.
that, like, just would tear me up because
Right.
I wouldn't want somebody to think that. But I mean, I recently had a conversation with the friend, and I was fine. It was through text, but I was finally like, did I do something? Like, I really, like,
Mm.
I don't want to be like this needy person, but did I like, what happened? And she was like, she goes, nothing happened. She was like, just life.
Life.
I'm like, okay,
Life
well, that's what
happened.
I thought. And then that's what was on my end. I
Mhm.
just wanted to make sure because I didn't want to leave something unsaid or
Right.
something like that. So,
Well, and I think it's important to be vulnerable like that. I think oftentimes we're not, and we let life happen in between and we don't talk about it. So then that life gets bigger and bigger in between, and then it
mhm.
just goes, undone or not talked about. I definitely feel as though women are worse than men and what that looks like. I read a lot. So, one of the things that a stat that I read that really stuck to me was that 61% of Americans say that and need it's important for them to have friendships, and that equates to more of a happy, fulfilled life than even marriage or money, which
Wow.
is 61. That's over half of Americans say that their like friendships mean more to them for a fulfilled happy life than even marriage or like money.
Wow. I
I
mean,
don't know. I don't know that I'd be the same. I think what sticks out to me, and then I want, when you hear that, what does that stick out for you? I can relate to that, and I think that my life is more fulfilled and happy. I don't know that it's more than like marriage. It just gives me different. It
right.
fulfills me in a different way of
Yes.
happiness. I don't know that I could be the wife or the mom or the worker, like the type of leader. I don't know that I could be the person that I want to be had it not be for my friends that constantly reminding me of the
Mhm.
who I am, like to my core,
Right.
because I think that's what friendships do. Like,
Mhm.
I know when we get together, I know when my friends get together, like on girls trip, you're only talking about life.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
how do I do this and not lose my stand? That's how this
Yes.
podcast happened,
Exactly. Exactly.
right? So,
Yeah.
like, I think I don't know that I could. The parts of my life that I want to be amazing, my marriage and my work and my purpose and all those things are so important to me. But my friendships, like,
It's
help me to
it's
make
all
that be
meshed in
fulfilled.
there. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's I mean, that stat kind of, I don't know, it's a little sad because I guess when I hear that, I think, is that the amount of people who aren't happy in their
Ooh.
marriages?
Ooh.
Like, and their spouse is not giving, not, not fulfilling some
Mm,
of those emotional
mm,
needs, I guess. But on the other hand, I mean, like, my husband is probably is my best friend,
mm,
like he is my person
mm.
for sure. But like you said, I feel like I still, the women in my life provide a different kind of emotional support, a
Mhm.
little different kind of understanding. And of course, he says I blame everything on hormones now, but I'm like, well, that's because you don't get it. So
Right.
that's why I need to spend time with my friends, um, because they do get it, they do.
Absolutely.
But I, I I don't want to fall back on friendships because I'm not happy in the most important friendship
Right.
in my life. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
But I want the friendships. Yeah, I still need them, but I need that as, like you said, like, it kind of like all gets intertwined together.
Mhm.
So they're important. And I know there's probably maybe people listening that maybe don't have close friends, or if you've had to move, or
Mhm.
something has caused that, or you have a job where you're kind of isolated.
Right.
Because I mean, I have like my work besties.
Mhm.
I mean, they are like, and they're my ride or die. We don't really hang out outside of work, but besides an occasional going to a Mexican restaurant after school, or occasional get-togethers. But oh my gosh, like, I love hanging out with them.
Mm.
But that's what brought us together, was our jobs working
Right.
together. So, and we threaten our admin every year not to separate us. But that you make those friendships in a
Mhm.
different way, and they're fulfilling. Like, but I can talk to them about anything. We don't just talk about work.
Right. Right.
But I feel like if I worked in a job where I didn't have people like that in my job,
Mhm.
like, my other friends, they're not teachers. Like,
Right.
you were a teacher, so
Mhm.
you get it.
Get a little bit.
But so then it's hard to have those conversations with my other friends who,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? It's just,
Well, and I think so. My I've always said this. I don't think when we were growing up as kids, we had like a best friend, like you exchange the best friend heart
heart necklace.
necklace,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
the little jagged edge or the yin to my yang,
Yep.
those type of things. Like you could easily pick that, and that's who you spent most of your time with. That's how I was grown up. Like
Hmm.
you had a best friend, sometimes
Yep.
two best friends, but man, three is a crowd sometimes, and that's a
Yep.
little hard. But what happens is I feel as though we were taught that if you're not the best friend, then you have nothing, like, then you have no other friends. And sometimes it's hard if that best friend you're everything. So we're
Yes.
taught like you have to have a best friend. Or that's what I
Yeah.
imagine
Same.
friendships
Yep.
about. Like,
Same.
so this is what you do. You represent this entity, and so you're my best friend. So I do all of my things with you. Well, what I've learned over time, and I did a podcast episode about this, it's not like a hierarchy of like how you're closer to me than this person or this person's
Right.
closer to me than that person.
Right.
It's that every person, every friend in my life serves as
Hmm.
a different person and a different piece.
Yeah.
Like I know if I want to talk, if I'm losing my faith or I'm questioning my faith or where that is, I know who I'm calling of my friends to ground me back and
Hmm.
make me think about that. If I have a friend that, I need to talk leadership and work and empowerment and girl boss, all those things, I know that friend that I'm calling to have those
Right.
conversations with.
Right.
Right. So I feel as though I don't look at like, okay, this person is my best friend because there's no way that person can fulfill all these.
Right. All the
Like our life
roles.
is made up
Hmm.
of like a pie, and every slice is something different, like our health, our faith, our
Hmm.
family, all those things. They can't feel and give us insight or perspective of all of those different paths that make up our
Right.
life. So, but I read this also. I love a Mel Robbins, and Mel
Mm.
Robbins did a podcast episode. Read every book she has. She's like my podcast hero, but she did a podcast on like adult friendships as
Hmm.
well. And she said that, her theory, that kind of going back to what you were saying, is this gathering scatter. Like everybody scatters. If somebody gets a divorce, everybody scatters. If somebody gets married, a lot of times that brings on new geography, so
Hmm.
people scatter. So like through that scatter, what rises like above, and it's not so much like you have to study show, and she says that there's only four people can be like your close friends.
Hmm.
Like we need to strengthen the connection between a small group and not have all of like this abundance of group. And
Right.
that's what I fear, honestly, that Instagram and social media has done for our kids. I feel like they think more is
Better.
better,
Yeah.
and like being parts of big groups of
Quantity instead of
people.
quality.
Right. But
Yeah.
like, and I think that's hard too. Like you don't want to navigate down a like you only can have these people and that's only going to be fulfilled. I think it's what you put your time into,
Hmm.
and you don't want like if something happens and you break up with your friend, that you
Yeah.
don't have anything to fall back on. But I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but there's a lot of good substance that Mel talks about, and that we're kind of hitting the surface in reference to that. And that's those four close connections. And I think that's where that study shows like more than 61% of Americans
Mhm.
and them being fulfilled. It's like if they have that close friendship, like that
Yeah.
close bond with somebody that is doing life with them.
Right. Right. Yeah. I totally, I see that. And, it's kind of, I was the same way growing up, mostly through elementary school. I had a best friend, and we were at each other's house all the time. I mean, I had other friends, but like, and then middle school happened, and that there was a
Mm.
little scattering there.
Right.
And then, and then high school, and then you get into your activities, and it brought on different friendships. And I had a lot of really great friends. I don't and at different points, I guess I kind of had a best friend, a closer friend. I don't want to
Mhm.
say a best friend, but through different parts, I can, when I think about it, I see different people
Mm.
popping in my head,
Right.
and we were good friends. Well, then I went to college, and I didn't go to college with any of my friends.
Mm.
I went to college with Neil. I mean, we went to the same college. Um, and so I made some new friends in college. So I feel like all the way around. So two of my really closest friends, we knew each other because we were from the same small county, but we weren't we weren't connected. They were connected.
Mm.
I wasn't connected with them until after college, until we were almost married. So it's just been over the past 20 years.
Right.
So like, they weren't like these close friends. So, they just evolve, everything evolves, and we stayed close. But because of some of these things, like I said, it was easier when our kids were younger, before they were in activities, and then we're all being pulled, and all of our kids have different things that they do. And sometimes, for two of us, that brings us together because our boys are all kind of friends.
Mhm.
And then for one, she's got all girls, and she still lives in McLean County,
Right.
and so our kids don't get to do those activities together. So we have to be super intentional, and it's so hard sometimes, and you feel isolated. And but then, like I said, I have my work friends,
Mhm.
and we've developed a friendship, and I have my basketball moms,
Right.
and all and some of those overlap and some of them don't. And but it would be so hard to try to maintain
Close friends with all of the, yes.
10 really close friendships with all these people.
Right, right.
So
And
that makes
sometimes
sense.
that can be lonely. I will be on, like,
Uh-huh.
when you have all of that, like, and I'm only saying this for my own self, I don't get invited to a lot of things because people assume that I'm either too busy
Mhm.
or that I'm probably spending time with X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And so therefore there's not an invitation. And then it just become it can become very
Mhm.
isolating without, because here's the thing, I'm waiting on somebody else to do. So I've had to really learn and shift my mindset. Like if I want to do it, my feelings can't be hurt when I see
Right.
them on social media if they were
Right.
together. I have to be intentional by doing the
Yes.
invite.
Yes.
I have to be like, hey, what's going on? I would love to do coffee. I would love to go for a marg.
Yeah.
I'm going to be by the pool. Would love for you to come over.
Yeah.
And I have to let that go if the invite, if it's a no this time or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think when we get hit by no's,
Mhm.
then we just stop the ask
Yes.
because we think that so I've been now more proactive about that. That just happened not too long ago. A friend reached out and was like, hey, going to play pickleball. You want to play? I'm like, I don't want to today. Like I can't, but
Yeah.
please ask
Please
me
ask me
again.
again. Yes.
So then I
Yes.
followed up and I was really intentional and be like, hey, let me know the next time you're playing pickleball. I didn't wait for her to like
Yeah.
reach back out.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we're waiting for the invite because we don't want to be an, or I am, because I don't want to be an inconvenience, but I'm
Yeah.
also, I don't know, I have too many sometimes circles and I don't know, and everybody assumes I'm really I am really busy, but
Yeah.
I want to still have the invite,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that I can be in control of that. But if I keep saying no to everything, then
Yeah.
the invites will not come.
Yes.
So it's like this double-edged sword
Mhm.
that then, but then I have to fit in family, like you have to fit in family and
Uh-huh.
all of those other things too. But I realize friendships for me are really, really important, and it really does fulfill me in a way that nothing else. And I am happier. I
Yeah.
can't explain it.
Right.
I have no explanation behind that, but it's a different kind of
Yeah.
happiness that then fuels the energy and the happiness in my marriage, in my motherhood, in all the other sectors of my life.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't make sense,
Well, I think it
but
does.
it
I think it
just
does
is.
because I feel like if you weren't fulfilled, in motherhood, and in in your spouse, you probably wouldn't be that great of a friend either. You know what I mean? I
Oh.
think it could be the flip
Mm,
side of that. I think it's a little bit of everything mixed all together,
mm.
and then we're all happy.
Then we're all a happy
We're all
family.
happy. Yeah. So now you do something amazing. I wish I wish me and our friends could do this, but like there's no, I don't know when we would do it. But you have a girls trip
Oh, we do have
every
a girls
year,
trip.
and it's like right not too long after school starts, right?
Yes, that's intentional.
Get the kids back to
Get the kids
school.
back to school and then we go.
Yes. I mean,
And that
that's
has been,
incredible.
so I will say that we're on year 9, maybe year 8, year 9, maybe. And that's the other thing. This was an accident. I met these two girls that, Lindsay had a college group that they all would
Mhm.
go on a trip. Well, some of their friends from that college had to back out at last minute. So I didn't know I went on a trip blindly.
A blind date.
Yeah, did not know I knew Lindsay, like, there was a connection,
Yeah.
but I didn't know the other. They're not even from here. One lives in Atlanta, one lives in Louisville. And so me and Tracy went on this trip as plus ones. And it was again, coming back from that was I was a different person. And
Yeah.
it's because I'm able to be Amanda. I'm able to realize the inner giggly girl that,
Mhm.
like, it is something about that. Like, it's not I'm running from my life. And I think
No.
that's often, it took Justin a really long time to understand what that was. He was
Yeah.
like, I don't understand why you have to go on a girls' trip. I don't understand, like,
Yeah.
what can be so horrible about. And I felt really guilty that first several
That's
years.
what I was gonna ask you. How did you get past that?
The
The
guilt,
guilt.
because I'm spending money that should be, like, spent towards a family vacation
Yes.
or towards,
Yes.
like, time away from,
Yes.
and Justin having to do it by himself. Yeah, there was a lot of there's a lot of guilt going, and then there's a lot of guilt coming back because I felt like I paid for it for the first several
Yeah.
years, with my kids and with my husband. But something happens when I'm there that I just can't explain a girl's trip. I just can't explain it. And funny story. I cannot believe I'm saying this right now. I cannot believe I'm saying this, and it's out there in the world to
Spill
hear,
it. Spill it.
especially of some of the people that listen to this and associate me with puzzle pieces. But something happens on girls' trip. Like, we laugh so hard we literally pee our pants.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
and Justin's like, I have been married to you almost 20 years. You have never peed your pants around me. Like, what do you do? I
Justin,
said,
you're not funny enough.
I was like, I can't, there's no words. I can't explain it. But I had to get through the girls' trip, or the guilt, by going, only because I knew that something is healed while
Mhm.
I'm there.
Right.
And so when I come back, I am a whole different person,
Yeah.
in the best of way. I wouldn't say that every girl's trip, it probably has a lot to do with the girl. We're not trying to escape our lives. That's
Right.
not it. I think for the first time, all of us can strip down our titles, and then we can
Mm.
truly remember who we are as people, to then come back refreshed in
Refresh.
a
Yeah.
way. And I think because there's a couple of women on there, like, we all have really big jobs, and so therefore lots of pressures.
Mhm.
We're all, been married for 20 plus years. Like,
Mhm.
it's kind of we all have 2 kids. Like, we're all in the same season of life with our kids. Well, no, one has 3 kids and one little, and I'm like, ooh. I remember her coming on girls' trip, and she had just had a baby. It was just, I'm not saying that you ever get over the guilt and you ever get over the man, should I be not spending this time away, or the financial strain that it might, like, I should put that
Right.
money somewhere else. We just made it sense for us.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. It's something magical that happens, and you
That's
pee your
amazing.
pants, and it's
I
great
mean,
fun.
the best in the best way possible. You pee your pants in the best way
Well, and I
possible.
will say this too, even if, and I don't know who I was telling this to, I think we underestimate. So there's a study that, again, I like to
I
read,
like your
I
stats. I like your
know,
stats.
but there's I think it's Dr. Hall from Kansas University. There's a research that was done, and it takes 50 hours of spending time with somebody before they become an acquaintance. Okay.
Okay.
I think it takes 100 hours for that person to become like a casual friend.
Okay.
It takes 200 plus hours for someone to be a close friend.
Okay.
So that is on voluntary time when I'm saying that, like
Right.
enjoyable time. If you think about, that's why friendships were so easy to get a close friend when we were kids,
You're in school, you're together, you're
because
yeah,
you're
you're around each other all the
all the
time.
time,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you can have more voluntary, enjoyable sports. You can
Mhm.
have time together. As an adult, think about 200 plus hours. That's a
It's a lot of
lot of
time.
time that you have to spend with someone.
That's like extra time. That's I mean, I know you have work, you have, but not everybody is blessed to work with somebody they click with, you know?
Right.
So,
So
wow.
within that, I say, even if you can't, I think that's why that group of girls on that girls trip, it's because we're investing the 200 hours.
Yes.
It's to become a close friend, to then be able to have the group chats, to be able to have the inside jokes, to be able to have, my
Yep.
ride or die, right? But it doesn't have to, I don't think it's the trip. That my whole point of that, it's not the trip or the being at the beach that makes that trip magical. It's being able to have the
It's the time,
time.
the uninterrupted time, the I don't have to be somewhere time. Yep.
So
Yep.
therefore, create, if you can't do the trip, create, do a sleepover, like a
Yes.
staycation sleepover, not because it's a sleepover, it's just because it's uninterrupted time and you
Yeah.
have more time to build versus 2 hours here for coffee. Let's
And then
go
I
have
gotta be, and then
lunch.
you gotta be back, and then you gotta pick up a kid, or yeah, yep.
So it's
Always
that
something.
intentional. I think that's what the lake has done for us
Hmm.
too, because there's something that happens that you're always around, like
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I say all of that because it goes back to that 200 plus hours,
Hmm.
that research that was done. It makes sense to me. That's why it's hard to develop close friends when we're so much older.
Yeah.
And then I had, like, if I see somebody that, like, or meet somebody that's a casual friend, and that because of maybe it's basketball or whatever, I'm like, I don't know that I have an extra 200
200
hour. Like,
hours.
where do I
Yeah.
pull that from?
Yeah.
And I think that's really hard. And that's why sometimes, like, even, my close friends now, like Tracy and Lindsay, whenever we've talked and they're like, oh my gosh, like, where are you spending your time? Like,
Yeah.
it's not a fear of, it's because we know when we develop that, like, it's an exchange of time,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so, um, I friendships are hard, and it's
Yeah.
because the time, it
Right.
all goes
It's the
down.
time. Yeah.
It's not anything except for time.
Yeah. I think we're all, especially at this stage, I think we're all smarter, and we're all like, you're at the age where you don't give a crap about some stuff, like, and you can just be who you are. And, it's not that high school, middle school, she talked behind my back, or,
Right.
you don't have
Yeah.
all that. Hopefully you don't, because I feel like if you do, that's probably not really healthy friendship. But you don't have all that extra stuff like that. You're just doing life together,
Yes.
and so you're smarter in how to keep and maintain a relationship.
Hmm.
So that part becomes easier. It's literally time. I feel like that should
Hmm.
be like in
Big
big
letters, right?
blinking letters. It's time.
Hmm.
Time and then intention.
Intention, like, it goes back to what you said originally in real
Yeah.
talk, of like that intentionality. I wrote down 4 things because I know that we're gonna have to. We can't get these too long, or
I
people will
know.
tap out
People.
on us.
Yep. Yep.
But so there's 4 things I want people to remember. The first one is stop, and I already talked about this. Stop waiting to be chosen. Stop waiting for the invite. You make the
Mhm.
invite. Stop
Yeah.
waiting. If you
Yeah.
feel excluded, if you feel like you don't have friends, if you feel like
Then
you don't have a
invite your
circle,
friends over.
yes, you be
Yes.
the intentional. Don't
Yes.
wait and
Yes.
feel excluded because you're not getting the
Or
invite.
because you think they won't want to come, or they don't have the time. You never know.
You
You
don't
never
know.
know.
You
And
don't know
sometimes
unless
it's
you.
just the extended invitation, even if you can't, that you go, "Oh, okay, like
We
you
still
just
are,
that
it's still
we're still
fine.
there. We're still
Yeah.
good,
Yeah. Yeah. So stop waiting to be chosen. This is really important to me, is create the consistency. So I will, going back to girls trip, we always know it's in August. We
Mhm.
don't try to change it, because if it's not consistent, then we're afraid that
E
it will
everybody
break the
can't. Yep.
cycle. And then so we found a time that we always so I'm big on it, even in work, like the third Thursday of every month we do this. So like
Mhm.
sometimes you have to be, in order to be
Yeah.
intentional, create that consistency because life is gonna happen.
And everybody knows to, like, block that
It's
off on
off.
your calendar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Be vulnerable first.
Ooh.
um if you feel you're hurt, if you feel like something is there, like I just did this with a friend the other night. There was something that was said. It's navigating kids in the mix of things, and there was something that was said that I felt as though, the way that I heard it, I felt as though she wanted me to do something about it, but I did not feel like it was my place with my kid to do something about it.
Mhm.
So I text her. I could have said on that. I could have
Yeah.
not said anything.
That
And
festers.
I
It
could
kinda
have
stuff
festered, and
festers,
it could
yeah.
have drew a stupid wedge between, but
Mhm.
I love and respect, and I want to talk about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that's who I am as well. So I text, I was like, hey, not tonight, but I want to talk something out tomorrow. I'm always big on let's sleep on it
Mhm.
and go. And so we talked, and she was like, oh, that is not even what I meant at all. I was
See,
like, see?
so many times it's miscommunication.
And then we self
And
sabotage
then we
ourselves.
think and then we start conjuring up all these things, these reasons, and yeah.
Yeah. So be vulnerable with your feelings, not that you're looking for them to do something about it. My expectation was not on her. I just wanted her to know my perspective
Mhm.
and what should I've done. Like, this is what I don't feel like I am
Right.
responsible for, or X, Y, and Z. And she was like, oh, no, I don't think you're responsible for that either.
Yeah.
She's like, that's not what I meant. So it wasn't that I was telling her because I felt like she owed me an apology, or that I needed her to know you can't hurt my feelings or whatever. I just needed that not to be something bigger. And I think sometimes we think vulnerability is, we're telling them vulnerable so that that person will do something about it. That's not,
No.
I
Yeah.
navigate this a lot in work. You're being vulnerable so that you can learn, and that you can adapt, and you can shift, and you
Mhm.
can know how to insert yourself, not for the other person to
Right.
change.
Right.
And then the last, not everyone has to be your best friend.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
not everybody has to be your best friend.
I know.
Or everything, like they don't have to check all the boxes. And I think
Right. They don't have
that's
to be the the person. I feel like that's a lot of, if I expect that out of you, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of me putting, if I'm expecting you to be my every aspect and me to be able to talk to you about every single little thing, that's a lot. That's been a lot on somebody. Um and I I know for me, like, I am not capable of being that for somebody. Um and at this stage, I always say that a lot. At this stage, it's listen, like, midlife can be lonely.
mm,
This whole midlife era that we're in,
hmm.
it can be super lonely and isolating. Um, so we've just got to show up for each other in the best way that we can at that time.
Hmm.
And it may not be what that person needs, but we can only just try our best to show up with what we have and kind of help, like, meet each other in the middle, and just, like, I feel like just walk hand in hand.
Or send a meme
Yeah,
or a TikTok
or
video.
send a video. Because I also think too, some as we age or go through these different stages, what we value in our friendships change.
Oh,
You
100%.
know,
We didn't even
like,
talk about that, but
yeah,
yes.
like, and I could go on too long, but so we all have to recognize that what we valued in that friendship 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it's going to shift
Mm.
and it's going to change. So,
Because we're growing as people and we're
yes.
changing. So not only
Yeah.
life is changing, as life changes, I hope that people know that I'm not the same person as I was when I was 20.
Right.
Because life is not the same,
Right.
right? And I think sometimes that there's a season where we almost have to grieve friendships, only because there's no way that friendship can be like it was then, because we're not in the same
Yeah.
season.
Right.
um you know, Nikki, who does my hair or whatever, and we're like besties. Our our kids, they're the ones that grew up together
Mhm.
like our kids did. But at the same time, we play different sports. That
Yeah.
like she lives right down the street, but it still don't matter. Like
Yeah.
and she has 3 kids, I only have 2. It does make a difference,
Mhm.
but I love her to death,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And just the other day, she sent me a meme,
Yep. When all else fails.
you know, and it's just it's hard to be that all of the things
Right.
all the time.
Right.
So like not lowering the expectation, but kind of taking the expectation off,
Mhm.
um, of less sometimes can be more. It's
Yeah.
just what you do, that intentionality and that connection to build. And I think this would be like my last like posing question is, if it takes 200 hours to develop, a close friend, then when's the last time you spent 2 hours building that with someone?
Mm.
Because I think we're always waiting for someone else to build it. So
Yeah.
what are we doing to build, if that's something that we're wanting? We had a friend the other day. It was like, I'm in a different season of my life. All my kids graduated. Please ask me back. Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and now like back in, like, hey,
Yeah.
we're going to do this. Hey, we're going to do
Yeah.
that. But like, she had to have that vulnerability. Like, I'm
Mhm.
back,
Yeah.
girls.
Like, hey, yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's
um, it's women are weird.
yeah. We're different.
So I know we could go on and on forever, and I
Yes.
feel like I rabbit hoed down a lot of things
Yes.
today. So my apologies
No,
for
no, it
pew
was
pew.
good. It was good. I mean, that's what we do. That's what
Yeah.
we do. That's what
Uh,
we do on here.
it's a conversation. I think somebody said that the other day. Like, it just feels like I'm listening to a
Yeah.
conversation with the girls, and
Yep.
that's really what we
That's
wanted it to be.
exactly what we wanted it to be.
Yeah,
So,
we know nothing. We are just sharing with you all of our rabbit holes and our thoughts.
no. And maybe I'll lose some friends after they listen to this. Just like, well, she's crazy. But I feel like we both have really good friendships, and we've developed a
Yep,
friendship, and it's all good.
it is all
It's all
good.
good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
All right. What is the next episode going to be about before we wrap this one?
Um, oh, rinse, repeat, recharge, maybe. Same month, different year.
Ooh, how you prepare for different seasons. I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
The old Groundhog Day, as I feel like.
Well, thank you all for listening. We hope that you are out there making some friends. And if you aren't, invite someone because it's hard.
Yeah,
It's
it
hard.
is hard.
All right. Until next time, guys. Bye. All right. That's it for today's meeting of the Margarita Book Club.
Thanks for sitting with us and spilling the real for a little while.
If today's conversation sounded like a lot of your own thoughts, you're definitely not alone.
Follow us on social media at Spill the Real.
And come back next week for another round of Real Talk. Same book club, no reading required.